Hello, friends and fellow adventurers. Thanks for joining me once again. And for the second time today, I am at the table because, well, I had a little bit extra time after my last session and I wasn't content with where I left it off. So I wanted to take the next couple steps. I think maybe I should just start making my videos an hour long. I know that creating content and getting subscribers and things like that aren't my goal. So, but in my mind, like 30-minute videos are more accessible for people if they do want to watch my stuff. But maybe I should just go past that. Maybe I should do hour-long segments. I don't know. Saying that out loud, I think I'm just gonna stick to it. Regardless, hey, thanks for stopping by the channel if you are, and if you're not, then you're not listening to this, so that doesn't matter. This is the channel where I like to roll dice, talk to myself, and guide my characters through stories and unforeseen adventures, usually at a very slow pace, which a good example of that was the previous session I had. So this is going to be my 36th entry into my solo journal for Jindel using the Ironsworn system. And Jindel is going to the alchemist's house here in the town of Three Streams. We just left the church after telling the leader there that we were unable, or we were unsuccessful in our kind of quest. So he reposted the bounty to find the item in the bandits' hideout, basically. A very cliche quest that we failed. And that's okay. Failure is acceptable. And speaking of acceptable, Jindel and myself, I think, are both learning to accept that she's not a fighter. This is a tabletop game, yes, but I'm not running combat simulators. That doesn't mean that every character I make has to be good at fighting and wants to jump headfirst into combat and kill all their foes. The fact that we lost that fight so terribly, it was further reinforced in my last session when I asked the dice, hey, is Jindel going to ask Sabian to teach her how to fight? And I got an extreme no. At the time, I didn't realize it, but I think, again, that's the dice telling me stuff. And I need to get better at listening to the dice instead of just being mad that they don't give me the answer I'm looking for. So, I don't think Jindel's gonna seek out Sabian or anyone's help to train her how to use a sword to kill people. Yes, she does need to defend herself, but there are other means of completing tasks for people. There's other means of completing quests. She's good with a bow, and she knows that, and that's been tried and tested in her past. So maybe just, defeating foes isn't her thing. Maybe she'll sneak, even though her sneak is a terrible skill. That doesn't mean, just because her stats say one thing doesn't mean she's another way. So, long story short, we're headed to the alchemist's house to see what this alchemist has for us to do, because we are broke and we need to pay the doctor for fixing us up. Sabian and Catania are following us. Nakrid is in Jindel's backpack. Katsuro is at her side. And we are headed to the rough direction. Now, this is a small town. It's all walled in. And basically, every store really is inside the city limits. Now, yes, there's going to be farms outside of the city limits and stuff. And this is places that people will go to during the daylight. But they'll make sure that they're returned to town. So essentially, virtually nobody lives by themselves, like out in a farmhouse, unprotected from the undead at night. I bring up the undead all the time, and then supposedly it's some big, huge threat in my world, and not once have we fought an undead creature. Okay, one time we did, in like episode 9, something like that. Anyway, alchemist's house. We make our way to the alchemist's house after a little bit of looking around. It's not too hard. I think there is a beautiful wooden sign with a nice blue flask on the front of it. Dead giveaway. This is an alchemist's shop. And we open the door and we push in the beautiful red wooden door, and it kind of dings a bell as we push it in. Katsuro gets excited at the sound of the bell and kind of tries to jump up on the door, and we're like, no, Katsuro, no, no, no. And as we're doing that, we are greeted by the shop owner, who is standing behind their not desk, counter, arranging some bottles when we come in, making sound. And they turn to us and welcome us, and we look at them, and who do we see? Let's roll. Let me get up my table. Aha, I almost had my first mess up, because again, I don't edit my videos, but I do pause my videos when I'm going to be doing something, taking time. And I just went ahead and rolled my dice, but I don't want any rolls that aren't valid, I guess you could say. I didn't even mean to do it, honestly, but regardless, anyway, I picked them up before I even looked at anything, so it doesn't count. Nothing ever happened. Here we go. I got my table up. What kind of person do we see greeting us here? We have, I did see one dice. I saw the D4 was on a 4, which would have been an old person, which would have been very fitting for a alchemist. I'm just saying, but I messed up. It's not the dice's fault. So a 2 is going to be a younger middle-aged person. Okay, so that's that. And a 4 makes it a male. So a younger middle-aged male. We're thinking maybe mid-20s. Race doesn't matter because, again, currently we are only dealing with humans, but it came up a human anyway. Next up, we have the single-digit D10, which is going to be a 3. So they're a shorter man. So a 20-year-old short human man. Our double-digit D10 is also a 3. So he's rather skinny. He's kind of short. He's skinny. He's very generic so far. And next, our D12 kind of gives us a good rough estimate of what colors they're wearing. And that's going to be an 8. So brown. Okay, more brown. That is kind of fitting. Kind of reminds me of the wizard from Lord of the Rings. Except younger. And 2 on the D20. The D20 gives us a distinctive feature. Kind of going from head to toe, what's something that kind of stands out about this person. And a 2 is that they're bald. Okay. So he's younger, but he's bald. Okay. He's wearing brown. Maybe he has like, again, kind of fitting with that wizard theme. Maybe he has like a brown, like, not frock, but like, just like a brown robe. Maybe he's kind of a monk of sorts. That's not a bad thing. Okay. Let me get these dice out of the way. And then we will find out whether he's a monk or not. Is this younger man, is he a monk of sorts? We'll say it's likely, just given his appearance. 11, yes, and a random event. I've been doing a lot of rolling the past few sessions, and have not gotten a random event. So, he is extreme, yes, a monk. He's a very dedicated monk. His head is shaved on purpose. He's not bald, it is shaved. He's wearing his brown robes, and he greets us very... We'll figure out how this man is. Is he a nice monk? Just because he's a monk doesn't mean he's like overly polite. He could be, I mean, a monk is a very broad term, honestly. So an extreme yes. Let's take care of that random event as we are being greeted by this alchemist here in the store. So this bald monk alchemist. No, not Oracle table. What am I looking for? What am I looking for, folks? There we are. Event focus. What is the focus of this random event? 82. Ooh, a PC negative. Okay, the player character faces a setback, complication, loss, or new danger. Okay, so that means we have to find out which PC it is. I consider all three of us the PCs. And since this is a negative event, I'm going to roll 3 dice. And the lowest result will be who the negative affects. Ooh, we had a tie with Sabian and Jindel, but it affects Catania. Now, how exactly is this going to negatively affect Catania? This monk greeting us here in this alchemist station is somehow going to be a negative for Catania. That is a tricky one. I'll tell you what, I will put to use my Game Master Apprentice deck cards that I always ignore because I don't think about using them. And let's see if this can't help us figure out a negative for Catania as we enter and are greeted by this monk here in the alchemist store in the town of 3 Streams. And speaking of 3 Streams, I am going to draw at random. I'm shuffling them. You can probably hear it in my mic because I'm doing it right by the mic like an idiot. I'm going to draw 3 cards randomly, 1 from the top, 1 from the center, and 1 from the bottom. And we are going to see if any or all of these can give us some information on why Catania is having a negative. I'm going to pause it while I think, so you don't have to deal with that. Okay. I've never actually used these cards for this purpose. I've had them, I've shuffled them, I've just randomly pulled them out and looked at them. There's a lot of information packed into these cards. And you can draw any of it, all of it, none of it. There's a few things that I'm kind of formulating could be a decent negative for Catania as we enter. And some of the things that are jumping out to me is on this card it says something slithering. You hear something slithering. So I'm thinking maybe this monk, this alchemist, has a pet snake, and maybe Catania is just like deathly afraid of snakes for some reason. She never really encountered the basilisk, to my knowledge, that Jindel kind of dealt with. So that could still be the case. That wouldn't be like lore breaking. Another few things that are kind of standing out. Sorry, I'm just kind of like talking you through my thoughts here. Another few things. All right, there's some 3 words that you can tack together in any order you would like. And again, there's just so much to take out of this. Okay, situation. Severe deja vu. Okay, and then where's the other one? Fulfill a superstition. Overcome by memories. I'm thinking... Okay, maybe we can pull all this together. So there... I like the things I've been saying. That's why I like to say things out loud. It's a little more substance than just thinking about things. So we enter Not thinking about it, we greet the alchemist and we approach. And like kind of as we walk in the door, up in the rafters, there's plants growing everywhere. Of course, it's an alchemist store. There's plants, there's bottles, there's trees, there's like potted plants and vines growing from roof to floor. And mixed in all that, there's a large pet snake that this guy has. It's not evil, it's not vicious, maybe it's poisonous, I'm not sure. But it's kind of like crawling. It's above the door as we walk in, but nobody thinks to look for it. And it sees us, and it's curious, and it makes its way through the foliage and down. Catania's in the back at this point. Jindel's leading, Katsuro at her side, Sabian somewhere in between. And the snake sees Catania and is curious about her for some reason. And as we're greeting the monk behind the counter, and we're explaining that the doctor said that they might be in need of some help, blah 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 blah. And as we're doing that, the snake kind of like starts to put its head on Catania's shoulder, and she like goes to kind of like brush her shoulder off because she feels something moving, and that's when she sees the snake, and this triggers something in her, and she just starts like freaking out uncontrollably. She kind of like falls backwards. She's scooting back until she gets her back against the wall, and she's just kind of sitting on the ground, and she's pulling her legs up to her. Now this is a big girl. She's a miner. She's full of muscle. She's got a shield on her back, a pick at her side. She's formidable foe. She's not just some little delicate girl. And seeing this, Sabian rushes to her side and says, Catania, what is it? What's going on? And she's just like basically deathly silent. And kind of like during her scurrying across the floor to kind of like get away, she kind of bumps into one of the display tables and knocks off a couple of vials, and there's a smell of nauseous chemicals kind of starting to fill the air. The man behind the counter sees this, and he sees what happened. He realizes the snake startled her, and he kind of rushes over and he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. What's the pet's name?" No, actually, there's names on these cards. Again, these cards have so much information on them. It's hard to like even pinpoint what to start with. Phoebe, yeah. Oh, Phoebe. Oh, you startled this woman. I am so sorry. Phoebe, get out of here. Go. And he kind of like shoos it away. And the snake slithers off out the back, maybe into the garden or something. And I am so sorry. And he kind of goes over but Catania is really having a terrible time. She, again, where is it? Slurred speech. She's having trouble even kind of like talking because she's having deja vu. This reminds her of something that happened in her past. I'm just kind of shooting off the hip here. One of her brothers, because she has all older brothers, kind of like locked her in the larder, which, if I'm not too stupid, means basically like kind of like a pantry, if I'm not wrong. But like locked her in there with maybe a couple snakes. Maybe they were out in the woods and they captured a couple snakes, and they thought it would be funny to kind of like, because they were back home. They're all older than her. So maybe they were just trying to like toughen her up. Maybe it was the one specific older brother that she has beef with that she's kind of like hoping to resolve. And this is all just like flooding back to her now. Sabian's never seen her like this. Jindel's never really seen her like this. I bet, does Jindel remember the story of this happening? I think that's likely, because they were friends when they were young. 49, yes, she does. And so I think Catania's having trouble getting her words out, and Jindal says to Sabian, Sabian, Catania hates snakes. I don't know if she's ever talked to you about that. And Sabian's like, well, yeah, she's mentioned it, but I guess we've just never encountered one. Yeah, she had a bit of an incident. Her brothers locked her in the larder with a few snakes. Did she get bit during that in the past? I'll say it's likely. I will say it's very likely, because that would be an even more reason why she's so terrified. 06 extreme, yes. She got bit pretty badly. Apparently one of the snakes was extremely poisonous. She was, once her dad came in and found her, he yelled at those boys like nothing that's ever been yelled. I was visiting at the time, or I was coming over to visit, when her dad came rushing out the door holding her, and he threw her on the back of the horse and he took off. I at the time didn't realize what was happening, but later come to find out that she was within inches of dying. They took her to town and they got the antidote, but it was within hours of her not making it, and she was sick for weeks after that. And ever since then, I've never seen her even come close to a snake. Well, she didn't share all those details, but I can see why not. That's not something you would want to relive in any capacity. And the monk guy's there with him too. He's like, I am so sorry. I did not even think anything like that would happen. She normally stays far away from people. Maybe she sensed something, and she meant well. I assure you, I am so sorry. Don't worry about the broken bottles. I will get them cleaned up. But watch yourself though. The broken glass. I don't want you to get hurt. Please, can I do anything for you? And Catania is kind of starting to catch her breath at this time, and Sabian's kind of like staring at her and helping her through it. No, it's okay. I'm sorry. And she's kind of getting back to her feet. I'm gonna step outside. You guys, just finish up. I'll just be outside waiting. I think Sabian's gonna go with her. It's like, Jindal, I'll be out there too. Just let us know what you find out. We're willing to help you with whatever needs to be done, I guess, unless it involves snakes. And she's kind of like holding Catania with her arm around her shoulder and helping her walk out. She's like pale as a ghost at this point, almost like cold sweat. And Jindal turns, she kind of like stands up, and Katsuro was kind of curious too, standing by her side. Yeah, please forgive her. I understand your snake did nothing wrong. She just, as you heard from the story, has a bit of a fear of snakes. And I am sorry about the bottles. No charge, please. May I help you? Please do not let this incident ruin any what's the word? Any barter, any trade that we can have. I assure you, I am here for the customer. A brew, perhaps, a potion, an antidote, anything. I will give you one on the house for this terrible mix-up. Well, I mean, we're not really shopping for a potion per se. The doctor here in town. Oh yes, Dr. Blankety Blank that you've never figured out. Yes, that one. He said that you were possibly needing some help with something. we could definitely use some coin, because I actually owe the doctor for him treating me. And she kind of like notions down towards her leg.
I tell you what, your leg hurt. Yes, it is. It's in pain. Yes, much pain. I have potion, can help very good. It will alleviate the pain. It won't heal you, because healing potions do not exist in this world. But it will take the pain away, and perhaps even promote healing. You know, he's kind of giving like a sales pitch. And he turns around and he's like kind of like eyeballing his shelves, going over it like it's like meticulously ranged, and he points at one, he grabs it off the shelf, and he sets it in front of Jindal. And it's a small little flask, you know, not anything that holds like 10 ounces of liquid or anything. It's a very small vial, very narrow, very tall glass, just enough for like about of a swallow. He says, "Drink that up. That will fix you up. It'll have you feeling fine for the next day or two. And as for work, yes, indeed, I do have something that I am in need of. I have a lot of work here. Nothing I can't handle, you see, but there are things that need to be done." Does he have any helpers right now? Just like any other staff with him? I'll say 50-50. Does he have any other staff? 71, no. You see, it is just me here, so I have to go and forage the plants, and I have to come back, and I have to... Here, let me get these cards out of there. That glare is kind of redonkulous. Okay. I have lots of work, you know. I got to go. I have to pick the herbs. I have to grind them, boil them, and get them all. But there are some plants that are elusive in this area. Things that are hard to find. But I know that they grow here, so I will not spend money to have them imported. And the fresher, the better, you know. So... yes, I could definitely use some help. Are you any good at finding things? Jindal says, yes, actually, that's kind of right up my alley. I'm a bit of a hunter-gatherer. She doesn't really say that. I've spent a lot of my life in the woods. I know many of the plants that grow around here. Ah, yes, good. That will be excellent. There are a handful of plants. I have a list. Hold on. And he goes and he gets a list. And it's like the name, because I'm thinking he's from a different part. Obviously, I'm giving him an accent. It just kind of like shows that he's not from around here specifically. But again, all the humans of this continent kind of live within the same smallish area, just given the whole setting of the story. And he has little pictures next to the names. So the names are kind of unfamiliar to Jindal, but the illustrations are very vivid, and she recognizes basically all of them on this list. And I'm going to stop it there. Again, we're right at that 30-minute mark. So Jindal has a mission, and next time we will maybe actually do some Ironsworn rolls and figure out what and how that goes, and maybe we'll make a little bit of money and we can pay back our debt and continue this story. And now we know that Catania is deathly afraid of snakes, so that was a fun little tidbit. Yeah, I'm gonna call it there. Thank you guys for watching. If you did, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful night, and I will catch you next time I'm at the table. Later, y'all.